Did you know that 86% of buyers are willing to pay more for excellent customer experience? Yet most businesses are only focusing on the transactions and getting the sales, or they're not even taking the time to follow up with leads because they're interested in their services. And you may be wondering to yourself, why is that even important? By elevating your client experience, you will ultimately be able to impact how people refer your business, and that intel increases your revenue. So instead of focusing on one time clients, let's focus on relationships that are beyond that one transaction so that we're able to build up a loyal client base. For those of you that are new to my channel, hello, my name is Jessie. I am a corporate event planner that has over 15 years of experience. On the Green Eyed Ambition, we talk about all of the unsexy things about running a business in the event industry. Today's conversation is intended to help you with looking at how do you turn a lead into a raving client. Regardless of how many years you've been in business, you probably have heard some of these terminologies before, or you may have never heard about it in the past. So today I'm going to be digging into a client journey, and your client journey is from when someone knows about your business to them paying you to you executing your services and how you maintain communication with them outside of it. To me, there are three major factors that are a part of building a client journey that is going to be focused on the inquiry process to a loyal client. The first one is understanding that every client is going to be paying attention to a first impression. So you want to think to yourself, how do you want people to feel when they first interact with your business? Is it going to be one of they have to chase you, maybe unprofessional, or is it going to be luxury? Is it going to be high level touch? It all comes down to how you want people to view your business. The second part you want to think about is going to be the experience factor. I do know that every business is not going to be focusing on luxury services just by the demographic you serve, the city and state you're in, and most importantly, the service in which you provide. But regardless of what type of experience you're wanting to actually provide, I think it's super important to understand that you need to know what type of experience you want to provide. Because I've seen it when people are thinking that they're giving a luxury experience. In reality, they are not giving that at all. In addition, you do want to remember that an experience does not have to be something that's costly and or a big grandeur type of feeling. Please do not overlook the small, unexpected gestures that can help with creating an emotional connection with your client. The third part of your client journey is really remembering the aftercare advantage. You work so hard to get them, they paid you once, but if you're not thinking about how you're going to maintain that relationship, you just have a sales funnel or a client journey with a giant hole in the middle of it. I have spoken about this plenty of times. I'll actually even tag a video that I talk about a sales experience and why it's important to have follow up. The best part about focusing on your aftercare or your the best part about focusing on your aftercare services is because the best part about focusing on your aftercare experiences is that it truly will help with continuing the communication with your clients. And this can be done inside of your CRM or a third party site. So now that we've gone through just the basics of your client journey, I want to take time to dig into each and every section that is a part of your client journey. The first thing we want to talk about is first impressions. You want to think to yourself, how do I make it seamless and I make it memorable for my clients? Businesses that respond within an hour are 7 times more likely to qualify the leads than businesses that take a lot longer. This is why it's important to use platforms that help you with being able to respond to a new inquiry without you having to stop what you're doing. The thing to remember for yourself is if you were to reach out to a company, how fast would you want for them to respond back to you? And you use that thought process to be able to build that inside of your system and processes in your company. So the pro tip I want to give to you is think to yourself, speed is everything. So think about how do you automate or personalize responses within minutes. Look at the platforms you're using or tech that might be out there to help you with being able to execute this efficiently and effectively. Because one thing I'm not telling you to do is to stop doing work just to respond to emails because someone inquired. You need to have that automated 100%. This can be a welcome email, video. This can be a welcome email directing people to learn more about your pricing, to schedule a consultation. The way that you can execute this is by having a welcome email where people are getting access to pricing or to schedule a consultation with you. Another thing to think about is to make your first interaction simple and clear. You want to reduce friction with a clear onboarding system. This can even be tied to your inquiry form. Whenever I'm supporting people with setting up their honeybook, I'm always saying, why do you have 10 plus questions on your inquiry form? Because all that is doing is creating friction. Most people just lie because they're just trying to get through it because they want to get more information. The most important thing is taking off the glasses from your perspective and put your client in perspective. No one wants to answer 20 questions just because you're too busy to. So make sure you're asking the correct questions and giving the right information at the right time. That is super important. This is why platforms like HoneyBook are really going to help you with having more success with being able to automate your initial first impressions with your client. Using platforms that allow for you to have personalized emails or information to go to clients is what's going to help it make it easier for you to communicate with your clients more effectively and efficiently. Now you want to think about, how do I give a wow client experience during the whole time? Often I talk to people that are saying, oh, after the person pays me, I maybe reach out a few days before. And nothing about that is wow. However, most of the time when I find out people are doing that, it's because they are not using automation inside of their business. And automation does not mean personalization, and it does not mean that you are just being robotic with your clients. When you think it through correctly and effectively, you can actually elevate the services and the communication that you're currently doing. And it's important to remember, someone trusted you, they trusted your business, and the best thing you can do is help with providing value to your clients throughout the whole process. Often I find that event industry businesses wait till just on the event day to wow their client instead of giving that wow experience throughout the whole process. I want to give you 3 tips on how to go about doing that. The first thing is that you can think about unexpected delights or moments, which I like to think of them as tips, because you're the expert, your client is not. So, how do you give them tips to help them with having a great experience with you or for them to have a great event? For some people, this can be giving their client a beautiful thank you note or card or a gift box, or it can be a value add email that's going to the client after they have decided to work with you. This is common for businesses that work with me in the event industry because people don't know your rules for your venues. They don't know how to select music. They don't know how to choose flowers. They don't know how to plan a wedding or what to expect for a wedding. So, by having tips and tools that can help them with having a better experience, it really does add value. And then most importantly, it makes you look like the expert that you are. Another way is to be proactive with anticipating any potential problems and solve them proactively. This can be very common for those of you that are in areas that tend to have that this can be common for those of you that provide your services in areas that tend to have weather concerns. So you want to be able to always have a backup plan. And even let's say you're a DJ, have extra cords. You just want to make sure that you're not adding any additional stress onto your clients. So be proactive with anything that you can potentially need so that you can easily resolve them. Another way that you can give them a wow experience is by surprising them with upgrades or exclusive perks. This doesn't necessarily have to only happen in the beginning part of the process, but this may be something that's unexpected towards the end. When you hear me mention about perks, I am not only talking about things that cost money. There are free things in which you can do to help with giving them exclusive perks. I like to call people VIP clients after they work with me because then if I know of some special offer or I have ideas, I let them know since you're a VIP client, I wanted to let you know this. So you can think to yourself inside of your business, is it having a chat group? And again, everyone's business this will not be valid for because everyone does not have premium services, and I get that. But just think to yourself, if I was to have an exclusive surprise or perk, would it be if someone spent X amount of money with you, or if they sent you repeat clients? You get to decide on what that will be. And the third phase, again, is we're talking about the aftercare. You want to think about how do you create raving fans inside of your business, and that does not have to be anything that is costing you. While preparing for this, I saw that 68% of customers leave because they feel unappreciated or because the business no longer stays in communication. So think to yourself, how do you stay in front of your clients? And if it's only by social media, let's be honest, it's very hard to keep people engaged or hoping that they see your post. I think it's important to have a well thought through aftercare communication. If it's either email marketing, if it's through a thank you note. I've had it where clients that have premium services, they would do a handwritten note just so that they show that extra touch to their clients. Because let's be real, in 2025, a lot of people are not writing letters or sending cards, especially not for business. It's the perfect way to have your business stand out from the rest. So I want to give you a pro tip on how to go about doing this. You want to follow up with your clients after your services within 24 to 48 hours with a personalized check-in. This can be for any service to just say thank you for working with us. It was great working with you on your specific event, and please keep us in mind. And at that point, you can also request for them to leave your Google review or a review on a specific platform. In addition, you can actually even give people updates. This is something I recommend for those of you that do wedding, photography, or videography. Is just send a note. It was great to be a part of your special day. Here's what you can expect next. You'll hear from us within blank, blank days with your first drafts, and just educate people on what's the next step, because what they will do anyway is reach out to find out what is the next step. So if you beat them to the punch, then it really will help with people knowing that, wow, this person's on top of it. Another tip is to have a email that goes out to your clients specifically saying that we love referrals and letting them know about your referral program. Referrals are a great resource to businesses, and I'll make sure to link a video here that I talked about different referral programs because I don't need to dig into it in this video. Inside of my business, it has really truly helped with me getting new leads and not having to work as hard to get new clients, because once they refer them to me, I'm always making sure I'm keeping people and then I'm getting referrals from those referrals. And the last pro tip I want to give you about aftercare is think about how you can keep your clients engaged for a long time. This is why I love inside of HoneyBook the ability to run reports. And then I do intentional email campaigns to people that may have worked with me 2 quarters before, or individuals that worked with me this quarter the year before. So then hey, you reached out to work with us this time last year. We had a chance to work with you on X, Y, and Z. I would love to set up a time to talk to you to see how we can service you again. You want to be proactive with engaging your clients than waiting and sitting back to think to yourself, well, if they're ready, they'll reach out again. Because sometimes people don't remember who you are, especially if you're not constantly keeping yourself in front of them. So, in recap, it's always remembering that great client experience isn't just about big budgets or these grand efforts and gestures. It's all about the small intentional moments that really matter. So thinking to yourself, how do I make a great first impression? How do I give a wonderful wow experience throughout the whole process? And then how do I maintain that relationship even after I execute their services? If you want a more detailed breakdown on how to create your own booking workflow, I have a free resource that is in the description that you can download today, where I have an actual training video that goes into all of the little parts that help with making a 5-star experience. I hope hope you enjoyed this video and talk to you until the next time. Peace.